Hello guys, welcome to a new video on Tower of God New World. And in this video, we're going to review the new character, Red Mask Hwaryun. We're going to go over, again, the usual points. I'm going to talk about in general how good this unit is, how much investment she requires, etc. Then we're going to go over the skills, exclusive equipment, gear, initial weapon, rapport. And at this point, I think we might even add the Revolution Road to the different points to talk about. So yeah, that's the plan. Let's just get started. And the first thing I want to mention about this unit is that she is good for sure. I mean, she's nothing exceptional. She has good utility, good crowd control. She's definitely a unit that's relevant enough, I would say, for red. I cannot tell 100% damage-wise how good she is in the early game. I have no clue, to be honest. But my guess is if support Hwaryun is good, I think she's at least as good in the early game as her. So she could be a good investment early on, but I cannot guarantee that. What I will say is that the amount of investment she requires is not that high. Like you don't need to get her to Rainbow 5. What you need is just 3 red. I think 3 red is more or less the bare minimum for every single unit, guys. Mm, Early on, you can get away like on supports with maybe 3 blue. On some SSR plus units, you can get away without 3 red, no problems. But most SSR units will want 3 red to function properly in the later stages of the game. So yeah, I will say minimum, she's going to need 3 red. And if you have high enough evasion early on and later on 100% resistances in both physical and magic for both magic and physical damage, then great. At 3 red, she's totally fine. She can survive and she can also bring her utility into the table and just start CCing enemies. So I would say overall, she's not bad. The thing is, similarly to regular Leroro, she has a passive that doesn't really fit well with the red element. I mean, we don't really have any physical damage dealers. We have Vicente, but that is not really a DPS unit. We have support Hwaryun. She's a support, she's not a DPS, doesn't really matter. We have Akraptor. That's the only one that can really work with her, but I don't know. Like, I don't have him built. I will build him eventually because I'm running out on SSR units to max. So for sure, I will also build him in the near future. And I'm pretty sure he will work well with Red Mask Hwaryun because she's going to be a frontline unit. She's going to provide that sort of tankiness that the red element always lacked. And she's also going to increase the damage that a Craptor deals, which is pretty good, especially now with Revolution. A Craptor is probably even better than before. Well, without probably. It gets a lot of attack speed, it gets a lot of accuracy, and that guy already had a ton of damage. So really solid unit. I think it can probably not rival Viol in any way because he also got buffed a ton with Revolution, but it can be a really solid DPS option if you are free to play, I would say. So yeah, the thing is, again, we don't have many physical damage dealers, but that will change in the future, obviously, as more and more units will get released for this element. That will change. For now, he has a spot in the red element anyway as a frontline unit. You can use her in different teams to boost the physical damage dealers. Like maybe you could use her hybrid in a purple team to boost Joaquin's damage. Doesn't really need that, but okay, could still work. You can use her with whichever physical DPS we have, compress rack being one of them. So yeah, that's just a short introduction on this unit, and I think she's solid. I would give her, like in my tier list, I think I gave her an S rank when she is fully maxed with all the investment, and I would say that's reasonable. Even though, I mean, she's not really anything that you say, oh, she's awesome. She is no, she's good. She's strong, but it doesn't have like that spark that lets you say like she is already god tier. No, she's a good unit. That's all. Now, let's just go over the skills. I already talked way too much probably about her. So let's see where she is. I don't have her last copy. I only have her Rainbow 4. Again, doesn't really matter. Her special move is not really that important. So whatever. I'm still waiting for the last 10 pulls in the hot deal summon. Once I've done them, if I don't get her, fine, I will use a box to get 1 box back. So whatever, not a problem. Now, if you go over the skills, let's just look at the passive. Now I feel like all the new units have crazy long descriptions for the passive especially. So huge. Okay, whatever. Now we have the thing I mentioned before. All allies are going to get physical pierce increased by 16%. By the way, I will tell you this now. Units like regular Leroro and Red Mask Hwaryun are going to be crazy once we are going to encounter them in adventure. They are going to be such a pain. You will have to one-shot them immediately. And the problem is, as you might have guessed, is that most of us, if not all of us, are running 100% resistances units. That means Pierce is a pain in the ass because while skills that are going to decrease your resistances are kind of easy to deal with because you can just start building the effect resistance, you can do nothing about physical and magic Pierce. They're just going to deal damage to you. And that's really really insane. Like this is going to be god tier when she is in the enemy composition. In your composition, she's a great unit, sure, but nothing major. But she's a god tier unit in the enemy composition. So for sure, be aware of this. As soon as you face her in adventure, which is going to be in theory the new floors that they're going to release, so 71 to 75, we're going to see Leroro and Red Mask Hwaryun. They are going to be a pain in the ass. Be sure of that. Okay, now I digressed. That being said, let's just keep reading the rest of the kit of the passive. She's going to get immersion tiers whenever she lands a basic attack, and whenever she misses them, she's going to reset this stacking. Now, it's pretty difficult for her to miss basic attacks because warriors will have high accuracy anyway, and you will have most of your units with enough accuracy to hit, except for maybe the units that are not meant to hit. So you're going to maybe not upgrade their gear 1, etc. But with Red Mask Hwaryun, you really want to upgrade their slot 1 in gear. You want to get her to rapport 6 and all that stuff. Still, she has a skill in the we're going to see in the exclusive equipment that's basically guaranteeing she's going to hit the basic attacks. So no way you're going to miss unless you're facing units that have a guaranteed dodge. That case, whatever, you're going to miss them unless you're buffed by your special move, but it's okay. And these stacks are going to reset automatically anyway at a certain point after the effect ends, and we're going to see here. So as soon as you reach the 10 stacks, you're going to enter the method state for 6 seconds. After these 6 seconds, you have to build these stacks back up again, okay? In these 6 seconds, you're going to have your attack speed increased by 80, which is a ton. She's just going to go machine gun and start out-attacking like crazy. Every 3 basic attack, she's going to create an observer that is going to deal 80% attack as damage to the enemy and is going to silence them for 1 second. This is huge. In addition, status effects applied to enemies with Hwaryun's basic attacks or skills also stop the target's active skills cooldown. Now, I didn't check how it works. Again, it's really difficult to kind of test because we cannot see the cooldowns of the enemies, as I said in the first impression video. But I still think it's going to just stay while they're CC'd, they are not going to, like the cooldown is not going down, but it's not going to reset it. It's just going to stop for the duration of the crowd control and then resume again, which is still pretty good. I mean, it's a really great effect. Crowd control wise, this unit is really huge. Now, here we have the active skill. She's going to do an AoE attack. The damage is quite low, but whatever. She's going to knock back all the enemies near the target and not the target themselves, whatever. She's going to make the target fully immersed and is going to provoke them while in the meantime evading all attacks from all other enemies for 3 seconds, not much. So this is a provoke. You could run her with the Myeonggul set. We're going to talk about that in a second. I don't think it's necessary. It's just additional crowd control. That's always nice, but nothing really special here. He has some dodges, pretty cool. But if you have 100% resistances, you don't really care. If you have an evasion-based Hwaryun, that could be a bit more helpful. But again, it's just 3 seconds, nothing major. Now, the other active skill is really good. I really like this one. She's going to just spin her spear and throw that towards the enemy. It's going to deal 240% attack as damage to all enemies it hits, and it can also hit multiple times. Every time is going to stun them for 1 second. Really, really good. This spear remains for 10 seconds, and with the Exousia equipment, is going to really go at a crazy speed, hit a lot of enemies. Really, really good skill. So I kind of like this one. Really good crowd control, AoE, so I like it. Now the special move is, in my opinion, a bit lacking overall. Really not the best skill that you could give her, but still fine. She's going to jump in the air and deal damage, like 800% damage to the enemy, and knock down for 2 seconds. Pretty basic. The damage multiplier is kind of low. Crowd control is okay, I'd say, but that's basically it. She's going to get for 6 seconds a buff that's guaranteeing her basic attacks to never miss. Pretty cool, but nothing really important. And she's invincible while she's jumping in the air, blah, blah, blah. Again, I would say pretty basic. There is really not much to this special move. Reason why I don't think Rainbow 5 is mandatory at all. So yeah, that was all, guys, for the skills. Now let's have a look at the Exousia equipment, which lately they started doing pretty stacked, in my opinion. So you're getting life steal from this, and this is going to have an impact on the, I would say, ignition weapon choice, but I'm going to talk about that in a second. The level 1 is already really huge. As soon as you unlock the Exousia equipment, all Hwaryun's basic attack accuracy is going to be increased by 50%. This is insane. Like you can never miss. Even if you're against it's a hard, that guy is going to use the Golden Needle skill and get 200 more accuracy. Doesn't matter. You will have more accuracy than his evasion. Did I say it was getting 200 accuracy? I don't remember what I just said, but I meant 200 evasion. So you're going to have more accuracy than his evasion anyway. So really, really huge level 1 skill. I really like it. The level 2 is the thing I was mentioning before. It's going to increase the speed of the spinning spear. Pretty cool. And also, every time an enemy is struck by this spear, the immersion tier is going to increase, which is going to speed up or just decrease the downtime that you are not in the method state, let's say. Then level 3 is pretty much worthless, in my opinion, just 5% of her max HP back whenever she evades an enemy attack, when, like, during the provoke window, so those 3 seconds. My opinion, pretty much worthless, especially if you're running her with, like, really high resistances. It doesn't matter at all. But okay, whatever. It's a nice addition. You're not going to say no to that. Then we have for level 4, she's going to be immune to status effects while using basic attacks in the method state. This is also really good. She's just guaranteeing the fact that she's going to out-attack and proc the silence on the enemies. Really cool. I would say the only mandatory ones are level 1 and level 2. Level 4 is nice to have, nothing too impactful. But at the end of the day, like, you want to get every single unit sooner or later to +20 anyway, just unlock the ignition weapons. So whatever. This is just for the people starting out that do not have a lot of resources. Just don't worry too much. You can just get her to +10. She'll be fine until you will need the ignition weapon. Now, talking about, let's just go first with the gear. So here, really, really important is the slot 1 for the additional accuracy. That's going to be boosted by the level 1 exclusive equipment for the basic attacks. With that alone, you can already hit most of the times. If you're facing at the hard, you will also need Rapport 6, but I would say go for Rapport 6 anyway. She's using the instant coffee, so it's pretty cheap. You're not going to build Hansung Yu anytime soon. You're not going to build Apple that much. She just needs level 4, so you might have a lot of instant coffee that you can use on her. So pretty good. The slot 1 is the priority. The second priority, or better, probably first, depends, will be slot 3. If you are early on in the game and you don't have a lot of resistances, then slot 3 is really, really important for the additional evasion. You're going to rely a lot on evasion early on to survive. Later on, slot 4 will be the most important one, so that you can get to 100% resistances a little bit more easily, I would say. And slot 2 is the least relevant one, I'd say, so you can even leave it at 0 and just forget about it, whatever. Not too important, up to you guys. Now that's all for the gear. Regarding the ignition weapon, this one is a bit of a more difficult topic, I would say. I would run her with like the support sets, so Runda and Doris. Probably Doris is a bit better, just to provide the additional value and not like if you already have two Runda, one in the front, one in the back, you can run her with Doris 100%. If you don't have a Runda in the front, it's not the end of the world most of the times, so I would still run her with Doris anyway. But what you can also do with her is just going with the hybrid sets, I would say. Uh, you can run her with stuff like two-piece idea, which is most of the times really, really good, guys. Just for the 65 effect resistance. If you have 100% resistances, that's basically the only time when the 65 or just effect resistance in general is useful, is when you have like to dodge those annoying physical and magic resistance decreases that the enemies might have. So that's definitely an option as a two-piece. And then the two other pieces, I would say either Elset for additional attack speed or Doris. You could even run two pieces L and two pieces Doris. That's definitely an option and probably the best in slot option that this unit has. But still, I would say go for Doris for piece so that you can also buff your DPS units. Like, for example, an Akraptor or a Viol or whatever that might be in the backline. You can give them those 20 additional swiftness for 10 seconds, which is really, really huge. Probably way more important than just giving her, what is that, 20 attack speed. Doesn't really matter. It's cool, but it's okay. I mean, she's going to have a higher uptime on the silence, more crowd control. Cool, I get it. But I would still go for Doris for peace, in my opinion. Up to you, but that's just my reasoning behind it. And obviously, you want to run her with slot 4 and slot 5 resistances. Unless you're early on in the game, at that point, you can just run her with evasion. With an evasion build, so you can go with crit damage and physical pierce. I'd still go with resistances because even if you have high evasion, you're still getting hit at a certain point. So having additional resistances, even if you cannot get to 100%, is still helpful. So I would still go with resistances regardless. Okay. And that was pretty much all also for the ignition weapon side of things. For Rapport, as I said before, I would go with Rapport 6, no questions asked. This instant coffee is really not used by any relevant units, so you can just jump them, like drop them all on Red Mask Hwaryun and get her to Rapport 6. And yeah, Now, the other open point is Revolution. I don't know exactly what I should say here, but well, okay, no. Let's say that I do know what to say. So, for warriors, what's the most important thing here is this effect resistance. I already gave her like a level 5 here. I didn't want to spend too many resources on this. I think 50 is already quite enough for her to dodge some annoying debuffs and stuff. So that's what I settled for. But this is definitely the most important stat that you want. Evasion is totally irrelevant. I wouldn't invest anything in that. But you can get the tiers and get her to the lifesteal node. The lifesteal node could be helpful because if you noticed, I didn't recommend Bergamot in the ignition weapon section. And I think Bergamot is not anymore a really useful set on the majority of the units. It's really good at the beginning because that secret floor is easier to farm. Bergamot has a wider range of uses early on. It works on most units and is probably the most beneficial set that you have early on. But once you start hitting those 100% resistances and you're later on in the game, you don't really need lifesteal. You don't really need the 4-piece effect. So you can just get barely enough lifesteal here from this node for your warriors. And even then, it's not really that mandatory. Maybe you can get away with just 4 levels to get 5% lifesteal. That would be enough on most unit. And Hwaryun, Red Mask Hwaryun, already has lifesteal in her exclusive equipment. So again, no reason to really go for Bergamot anymore. So yeah, that being said, I would say, considering the fact she has lifesteal in the exclusive equipment, all you need to really unlock is the tier 1 and then getting 10 levels in the effect resistance. No reason to waste resources on a tier 3 additional stat, which is really more expensive, is double as expensive as the other two. So just get 10 effect resistance. Once you get to a point where you have 100% resistances, before then, no reason to do so. Okay. I want this to really be clear to you guys. Do not invest in stats, especially here in the Revolution Road, that you do not need at the current moment. Okay. Let's say, for example, ranged units, they have accuracy as one of the additional stats. You do not have to invest in it until you actually need it. Okay, obviously, it seems it seems stupid, and it is, but most people might just waste resources on that stat because they say, "Oh yeah, accuracy is cool, is useful." It is, but if you're already like if you're at the stage of the game where you already have like 100 accuracy over the enemy evasion, adding 50 on top makes no sense. It's really a waste of resources. Invest in it once you get to a point where, okay, the enemy now has 5 evasion more than my accuracy. Then you start investing a couple of levels in your accuracy node. That's what I wanted to mention. Just some basic logical stuff. Okay, guys, do not just say, oh, that seems useful, let's just invest in it. No, if you do not need accuracy, do not level up accuracy. If you do not need effect resistance because you do not have 100% resistances, well, you might, or like, you might still need it. I mean, it's always nice to dodge stuff, but it's not as strictly mandatory as it is when you are with that amount of investment, okay? So yeah, that's just what I wanted to mention, nothing more. So yeah, guys, I would say that was pretty much all that I wanted to say about this unit. If you have any questions, feel free to ask them either here in the comments down below or in my Discord server. We're always open to reply to you guys. So yeah, that was pretty much all from my side. If you liked the video, please drop a like and subscribe to my channel, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye!